Hi Year 12. This is just the next part of what you need to do for your website unit. So if you have a look at the slide up on the screen, so far you've done task 1, which is your poster and your slides. Everyone should have done that by now. Task 2 is the work that you've been set for this week, which is your report on static and dynamic websites. So that is due in on Friday. But what I'm going to talk you through now is task 3, where you need to make a magazine, and the point of the magazine is to explain why we use websites. Okay, so over the next few slides, which you will also have access to via Show My Homework, you need to basically read all the information, and then what you're going to do is represent that information in your own words. Okay, so I'm going to talk you through it bit by bit, and what I'm also going to put up on Show My Homework is a structure that you can use and basically just fill in to make it a lot easier for you. Okay, so the first thing you need to talk about is file management. Okay, so this is what you need to think about when you're building a website. All your website's all website files should be in one folder. File names should be lowercase and 8 letters or less, without spaces or punctuation marks. So that's fairly simple information that you need to present in your own words, and you can add images to that as well. The structure behind web pages is another thing that you need to talk about. Okay, so you need to talk about the fact that all web pages are written in a coding language, HTML, which stands for Hypertext Markup Language. You can show the coding by choosing View Source from the browser menu or Control U. XHTML, Extensible Hypertext Markup Language, and HTML5 are further developments of HTML. So that takes it to the next level of different things that you can do. Okay, so that's how web pages are structured, and again you need to write that in your own words, and also maybe add some images to that to make it nice and well presented. Web standards. Okay, WC3, World Wide Web Consortium, you need to know about that. So it's basically this is an international community where organizations, full-time staff and the public work together to develop web standards. Okay, so this is basically about making sure that there are relevant protocols and guidelines for all of the content on the World Wide Web. Okay, obviously it's difficult to kind of police, but there are kind of organizations in place that try to make sure that that's the case. It's played a major role in the development of the web since it was founded in 1994. Now, what I would urge you to do is to go to their website, try to find a little bit more information about the World Wide Web Consortium, and you can add some more information on this to your magazine. Okay, that's gonna make it, push it up beyond the pass if you add some of your own research to it as well. Okay, and also obviously screenshots are good, images are good, so that's that bit. Preparation is the next section. File size and file compression. Smaller file sizes are better for web graphics, as this will allow the website they appear on to load more quickly. This is still important for many of the people who are accessing the web from a slower internet connection, an old computer or their phone. The trick is that as the file size decreases, so does the quality. So you want to find the best middle ground between quality and file size, which is easier now than it ever has been in the past. Reducing the resolution is one way to drastically decrease file size without decreasing the quality of the image on the screen. Okay, so again, you need to basically explain that, show that you've understood it, and write it in your own words, and add some images to that section as well. Media file types. Okay, so for this bit you need to talk about the different types of files that can be included in a website. So we're looking at images, video clips, audio and animation. So obviously for all of these it's going to be really nice if you can find some really good images and some really good information on these things, and some real examples to add that are going to make your magazine a lot more interesting than the slide that I've got in front of you now. Okay, so this gives you the basic information, and your job is to turn all of this information into a really interesting way to view it, so that people can learn all the stuff that you're learning at the moment. Okay, preparing images. Okay, so there's some information there on how you can prepare images. All right, so again, you need to read this. I'll let you read it on your own, and you need to basically show that you understand all of those different things: raster, vector, cropping, manipulating, and resizing. All right, there's some information here on the slide, but obviously people who are aiming for a merit or distinction, I really think that it would be good if you can go off and Google this stuff, research it, and obviously find your own information that's going to increase the quality of your magazine here. Okay, some more information there on preparing images. Okay, navigation is the next section. Sitemaps, buttons, and hyperlinks. Okay, so it tells you here everything, what navigation means, which is basically how you're able to move around a website, how you're able to access different things on it. Remember that it needs to be really clear and simple when you're navigating a website, so that it's not difficult for people to find their way around. It needs to be, you know, so that they can just go on it, and if they want to find something on it, they're going to be able to find that. So it would be good to have some labeled examples there of websites and how they're navigated. Hyperlinks and buttons as well. And what you need to explain about that is that you need to make your links and your buttons clearly identifiable for the user. Remember to use relevant images when you can. For example, if the button allows the user to buy something, then a little shopping cart would be a good image to use. You can probably get some examples of that from things like Amazon or any of the shopping sites that you use. So make sure that you illustrate that. Next section is accessibility. Web accessibility means that all users should be able to use all websites. Text and images are large, then it's easier for users with poor sight to read and understand the content. When links are underlined as well as colour, this ensures that colourblind users will be able to notice them. When clickable links and areas are large, this helps users who cannot control a mouse with precision. When videos have sign language, deaf and hard of hearing users can understand the video. When content is written in plain language and illustrated with diagrams and animations, users with dyslexia and learning difficulties are better able to understand the content. So this section is basically ensuring that you're showing that you understand that different people have different needs in terms of how they're going to be able to access stuff. And, you know, websites need to take that into account. And this is all the stuff that they can do to ensure that everybody inclusively is able to use the website. Okay, then we move on to creative considerations. So aesthetic, that word basically means that it's visually appealing. It needs to look good. Okay, that's all that means, that word aesthetic. Layout, you already know what that means because you've already done something on layout, how the elements all kind of work together on the screen. Originality, what's its unique selling point? What makes your website stand out from all the others? Okay, that's obviously important because it's a very competitive industry. Composition, how the content is distributed over the web page. Navigational ease, so how user-friendly is it? And the level of interactivity, how much interaction and personalization is possible for the user of the website. So for those words, interaction and personalization, going back to some of your exam knowledge there, okay, and just making sure that you, on the creative considerations section here, that you've shown that you understand what all of those words there, those key words in bold mean, okay. And again, it would be really good if you could write that in your own words, please. Okay, so this is what you need to do. So that was all, so far what I've gone through with you is all the information that you need to basically research, all the information that you need in order to include in your magazine, okay? And what you've got here on this slide are all the different sections that you need to include on your magazine in one list, okay? So you've got them all on the previous slides in more detail, but here it gives you what different subsections you need to include in your magazine all in one place. Okay, so this is your checklist. So make sure that you've done your sections on file management, structure behind web pages, web standards, preparation, media file types, preparing images, navigation, accessibility, and finally creative considerations. Okay, so those are all the sections that you need in your full magazine for this assignment. Okay.